Good afternoon, real estate people. This is David Fender with Fender Real Estate coming to you from Stuart, Florida. And today I want to talk to you about the topic of relatability and how relatability applies to your real estate business. And I guess to dive a little bit deeper into that, in regards to where you're going to spend your time, money, your efforts and energy in prospecting and lead generation. Where are you sending those mailers? The topic came to me, sorry about that, because I was recently speaking to a couple colleagues of mine, and one of them mentioned just the general concept of knowing like who you are. Like what is your thing? Like, are you into surfing? Are you a country person? Are you a country club person? Are you a downtown city type person? He's like, know the kind of person you are, because if you understand who you are, then you obviously know who you relate to. And the second individual, a colleague I was talking to, they threw out the comment of, if you had to create an avatar, what would your avatar look like? Like, what do you reflect? What's your personality type? What's your vibe? What's the energy you're putting out? Like, what kind of individual are you, and who do you relate to? So for me personally, I grew up in Fort Pierce, Florida. Beautiful area, close to the water, but it also kind of had a bit of a country vibe. And so I grew up with, spending most of my time either fishing, being around the water, or, kind of being around more country individuals. And that kind of like shaped my character into who I can flow with and who I can vibe with. My father was also in construction for a long, long time. So I spent a lot of time around construction sites. I've been around land development, things like that. And so when it comes to anything regarding country, boating, land development, construction, any of those individuals, I just tend to really do well and flow with. I can speak the language. I can relate to what's happening, and it works for me. And so my question to you is if you were in a room, say you went to a party, and there's 10 tables set up, and there's 10 different variety of people at each table, what table would you go sit at? You're going to pick the table that has a group of people that you think that you can vibe with, that you can relate to, and that you're going to feel comfortable, confident, and hopefully the conversation's going to flow. And so that's just the thought for today, is like, be an expert, be a professional in the area that you're working, but also consider the idea of, finding neighborhoods, communities, areas of your county or city that have a larger population of people in it that you can relate to. Because like if you're, kind of a country individual, well, focus on those areas, so that way when you're finally in front of a potential client, that conversation is going to flow. I think everybody's had the experience to where you meet somebody new, and unfortunately your personalities, your background is so different that it's just really hard to have a conversation. Like you kind of struggle because you're at different levels, different playing fields, whatever it is. You've got a different history, a different background, and it's just really difficult to relate to that person. And when that happens, it doesn't flow. It's not fluid. And it makes the conversation a bit of a more struggle. It makes building the friendship, the relationship, more of a struggle, and building trust with that person. People want to be able to vibe with the person that they're talking to. And they want to feel like if they're doing business with somebody, that person has their best interests at heart, and that in some ways that they're kind of a friend. And to do that, you've got to be able to have that relationship, and it's a lot of times it's through that relatability. Now, obviously that isn't the end all be all by any means. Like, even if your vibe is one thing and you're like, hey, I don't care. Like, I want to be in this area because this is where, there's a lot of turnover, there's a lot of sales in this area, or maybe it's just a higher price point, there's bigger commissions, and you're like, that's where I want to be. And you know what I say? Go for it. Do it. Make yourself an absolute expert in that area. Know everything about it. Know the vendors. Know everything about the construction, the insurance, the HOAs, the property management groups. Know all the comps. Just be a complete expert in that area. And then even if you can't really relate to the person, maybe you're a little bit different when you're having your appointment, but they're still going to see that you are so knowledgeable, so prepared, and such an expert in that area that they're going to overlook the fact that maybe the conversation doesn't flow, and they're still going to hire you. It's still going to work. So can you make that happen? Absolutely. People do it every single day. They get new business just by the fact that they're such a professional and so knowledgeable on the market that they are farming or working. So the only suggestion I'm making today is that if you can farm an area where the potential clients are just going to be a little bit more relatable to your personality, it could make the process a tiny bit easier. So that's my thought for today. Take it for what it's worth. Again, as always, get out there, sell something. And like I say, action creates action. So go do something. Take action to make action happen in your life. All right, people, have a great day. Talk to you soon.